So I want to recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some of you full of hope, making the impossible possible. Right, everybody?
When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together towards achieving a brighter, more sustainable world. The world is at crossroads. The urgency of addressing climate change and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is evident. While governments, organizations and communities strive to make an impact, the scale of financing required to drive substantive change is vast. This is where the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, emerges as a beacon of hope. A moment of pride and validation to highlight that both the G20 principle of blended finance and the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance was unanimously acknowledged in the G20 Bali Leaders Declaration.
To recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some of you full of hope, making the impossible possible. Right, everybody?
When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together.
wabarakatuh. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati,
The world is at a crossroads. The urgency of addressing climate change and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is evident. While governments, organizations and communities strive to make an impact, the scale of financing required to drive substantive change is vast. This is where the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, emerges as a beacon of hope. A moment of pride and validation to highlight that both the G20 principle of blended finance and the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance was unanimously acknowledged in the G20 Bali Leaders Declaration.
To recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some feel full of hope, making the impossible possible. Right, everybody?
When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together towards achieving a brighter, more sustainable world. The world is at a crossroads. The urgency of addressing climate change and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is evident. While governments, organizations and communities strive to make an impact, the scale of financing required to drive substantive change is vast. This is where the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, emerges as a beacon of hope. A moment of pride and validation to highlight that both the G20 principle of blended finance and the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance was unanimously acknowledged in the G20 Bali Leaders Declaration.
To recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some feel full of hope, making the impossible possible, right? Everybody?
When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together towards achieving a brighter, more sustainable world. The world is at a crossroads. The urgency of addressing climate change and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is evident. While governments, organizations and communities strive to make an impact, the scale of financing required to drive substantive change is vast. This is where the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, emerges as a beacon of hope. It's a moment of pride and validation to highlight that both the G20 principle of blended finance and the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance was unanimously acknowledged in the G20 Bali Leaders Declaration.
To recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some feel full of hope, making the impossible possible, right? Everybody?
When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together towards achieving a brighter, more sustainable world.
celebrated the prospective founding members joining us. So I want to recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some of you are represented here today, and I would also like to thank our partners, OECD, World Bank, IFC, and ADB, and many others. And of course, this was a Government of Indonesia effort. And I really feel full of hope, making the impossible possible. This place that we are here today is also the support of the Government of Indonesia, because this is part of the state-owned enterprise.
At the United Nations on September 26, the AOA consensus with member countries and knowledge partners. Signing of the new international organization, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance for Happiness and SDGs, was held.
Congratulations, first of all, on this launch. Very proud to see you achieve this step. When we talk about financing, there's not this magical single pot of money that's available. There are different types of financing that are available that we need to match to different types of investment needs. And the power of blending, which is what we're talking about here today, is that 1 + 1 can equal much more than 2. We can get leverages that go to 4, to 10, 20, I've even seen 60. And that's the kind of smart thinking that we need if there is a chance of raising the type, quality, and amount of financing we need to make sure that countries have the energy to power the economy, but also to run the hospitals so that we can have health as wealth, to run educational systems where youth can have the knowledge and skills for a better future, to have better human conditions in Indonesia and around the world. And so as always, Indonesia, you're leading us, you're showing us the path. The United States is very pleased to be at this table with you on this day of this launch. So congratulations again. Thank you for inviting me.
Yesterday, we celebrated the prospective founding members joining us. So I want to recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some of you are represented here today, and I would also like to thank our partners, OECD, World Bank, IFC, and ADB, and many others. And of course, this was a Government of Indonesia effort. And I really feel full of hope, making the impossible possible. This place that we are here today is also the support of the Government of Indonesia, because this is part of the state-owned enterprise.
At the United Nations on September 26, the AOA consensus with member countries and knowledge partners. Signing of the new international organization, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance for Happiness and SDGs, was held.
Congratulations, first of all, on this launch. Very proud to see you achieve this step. When we talk about financing, there's not this magical single pot of money that's available. There are different types of financing that are available that we need to match to different types of investment needs. And the power of blending, which is what we're talking about here today, is that 1 + 1 can equal much more than 2. We can get leverages that go to 4 to 10, 20, I've even seen 60. And that's the kind of smart thinking that we need if there is a chance of raising the type, quality, and amount of financing we need to make sure that countries have the energy to power the economy, but also to run the hospitals so that we can have health as wealth, to run educational systems where youth can have the knowledge and skills for a better future, to have better human conditions in Indonesia and around the world. And so, as always, Indonesia, you're leading us, you're showing us the path. The United States is very pleased to be at this table with you on this day of this launch. So congratulations again. Thank you for inviting me.
Yesterday, we celebrated the prospective founding members joining us. So I want to recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some of you are represented here today, and I would also like to thank our partners, OECD, World Bank, IFC, and ADB, and many others. And of course, this was a government of Indonesia effort. And I really feel full of hope, making the impossible possible. This place that we are here today is also the support of the government of Indonesia, because this is part of the state-owned enterprise.
At the United Nations on September 26, the AOA consensus with member countries and knowledge partners. Signing of the new international organization, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance for Happiness and SDGs, was held.
Congratulations, first of all, on this launch. Very proud to see you achieve this step. When we talk about financing, there's not this magical single pot of money that's available. There are different types of financing that are available that we need to match to different types of investment needs. And the power of blending, which is what we're talking about here today, is that 1 + 1 can equal much more than 2. We can get leverages that go to 4 to 10, 20, I've even seen 60. And that's the kind of smart thinking that we need if there is a chance of raising the type, quality, and amount of financing we need to make sure that countries have the energy to power the economy, but also to run the hospitals so that we can have health as wealth, to run educational systems where youth can have the knowledge and skills for a better future, to have better human conditions in Indonesia and around the world. And so, as always, Indonesia, you're leading us, you're showing us the path. The United States is very pleased to be at this table with you on this day of this launch. So congratulations again. Thank you for inviting me.
The world is at a crossroads. The urgency of addressing climate change and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is evident. While governments, organizations and communities strive to make an impact, the scale of financing required to drive substantive change is vast. This is where the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA, emerges as a beacon of hope. A moment of pride and validation to highlight that both the G20 principle of blended finance and the establishment of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance was unanimously acknowledged in the G20 Bali Leaders Declaration.
To recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some feel full of hope, making the impossible possible, right? Everybody?
When future generations look back, they will remember the leaders and nations who stood tall during this pivotal period and worked together towards achieving a brighter, more sustainable world.
We celebrated the prospective founding members joining us. So I want to recognize and thank the country members, UAE, Fiji, France, Sri Lanka, DRC, Kenya, Luxembourg, and Canada for being the prospective members. Some of you are represented here today, and I would also like to thank our partners, OECD, World Bank, IFC, and ADB, and many others. And of course, this was a government of Indonesia effort. And I really feel full of hope, making the impossible possible. This place that we are here today is also the support of the government of Indonesia, because this is part of the state-owned enterprise.
At the United Nations on September 26, the AOA consensus with member countries and knowledge partners. Signing of the new international organization G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance for Happiness and SDGs was held.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to take your seat as we are about to begin our proceedings. For our guests joining online, please excuse us starting a bit late as we await the arrival of some of the key guests to this gathering, but we will begin very shortly. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance member countries' Articles of Agreement signing and roundtable discussion for the next steps. My name is Shobi Lawalata, and it is an honor for me to be the host of today's event. Please welcome our very special guests and join me in welcoming them. We welcome His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment of the Republic of Indonesia. His Excellency Pahala Mansyuri, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Indonesia. Her Excellency Ibu Mari Elka Pangestu, Special Envoy for the President of Indonesia for Global Blended Finance Alliance. His Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, Prime Cabinet Secretary of Kenya. His Excellency Admiral Professor Jayanath Kolombage, the Ambassador of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka to Indonesia and ASEAN. His Excellency Mr. Jackson Onkoba, the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Republic of Kenya to Indonesia. Esteemed representatives of our friend countries, Canada, the United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, and Australia to Indonesia. Our esteemed representatives of G20 Bali GBFA Knowledge Partners, Ms. Shuhaila Fabia Hakim of Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, Mr. Norimasa Shimamura of UNDP, and Ambassador Tantowi Yahya of United Endeavor City. Also, our friends, partners, esteemed dignitaries of countries, prospective members and prospective knowledge partners of the G20 Bali GBFA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, or GBFA, was adopted by the G20 leaders at the summit in Bali in November 2022 to bridge the financing gap for climate change actions and achieve the SDGs. Today, we are delighted to witness and celebrate the first signatories to the GBFA Articles of Agreement by pioneering countries Kenya and Indonesia. To begin today's event, Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Joko Widodo, President of the Republic of Indonesia, to deliver the opening keynote speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, tantangan dunia ke depan akan semakin berat, khususnya bagi negara-negara berkembang, baik dari sisi dampak perubahan iklim, krisis ekonomi, krisis pangan maupun panasnya geopolitik global, di mana semua tantangan tersebut pada akhirnya memperburuk pencapaian SDGs kita. Oleh sebab itu, Global Blended Finance Alliance memang didirikan sebagai upaya untuk mendukung pembangunan inklusif dan berkelanjutan, serta menjadi ajang bagi kemitraan internasional dalam mendukung implementasi SDGs di negara berkembang dan mendorong kerjasama Selatan-Selatan. Saya harapkan Global Blended Finance Alliance ini menjadi platform yang mendorong lebih banyak sumber pembiayaan, khususnya pemenuhan komitmen negara maju untuk akselerasi pembangunan dan pendanaan iklim. Indonesia percaya kerjasama ini juga dapat meningkatkan pertukaran pengetahuan, teknologi, dan pembiayaan untuk solusi yang lebih inovatif dan inklusif dalam mengurangi kemiskinan dan kesenjangan sosial. Terakhir, saya juga ingin menyampaikan terima kasih atas kepercayaan kepada kepemimpinan Indonesia dalam mewujudkan agenda blended finance ini, serta terima kasih kepada perwakilan negara-negara yang telah menandatangani anggaran dasar ini. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, President Jokowi, for your support and leadership on this groundbreaking initiatives. Next, I would like to invite representing Indonesia in this signing of the Articles of Agreement, may I invite to the stage to give a remarks His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister of Maritime, or from the table, Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs and Investment of the Republic of Indonesia.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency Musalia Mudafi, also friends who are here today. Good afternoon again, and first of all, I'm very pleased that we have moved a step ahead after our last meeting in New York last month. My special thanks to Kenya for its commitment to sign the Articles of Agreement of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance today. I believe other members will join soon. We realize it's not easy to achieve this target, but I believe with the spirit of togetherness we can do it. The Articles of Agreement of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance today is very, very important. That's why the President Joko Widodo also addressed in this occasion. And yesterday also I've been discussed with the President Joko Widodo about this Global Blended Finance Alliance G20 Bali. And she's really give a full support to this organization. We have almost same pressing challenges on the sustainable development, climate action, and equitable growth. Window to act is rapidly narrowing and need financial support, which is, I think, very, very important, especially for the developing countries. We realize public resources itself cannot meet the scale to achieve SDGs and climate action. By combining public philanthropic and private sector capital, the G20 Bali GBFA, I think could risk investment and create new markets and unlock the trillions needed to close the financial gaps. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this issue is so important. Because again, I keep telling that developing countries really need this kind of platform. Again, ladies and gentlemen, let me emphasize an important point. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We already have proven financial instruments and mechanisms at our disposal, which we can adapt, scale, and implement more effectively through the programs under this platform. Developing countries will be facilitated in preparing a country platform to become bankable for potential investors. And the GBFA seek to channel capital into areas that not only address current needs, but also safeguard of the future of our next generation. Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance is an innovative financing solution was acknowledged by the Leaders' Declaration in G20 Bali 2022 under the leadership of President Joko Widodo. I would like also to inform to you, ladies and gentlemen, this is, I think, a good also, I'll say, signal or sign that today is President-elect Prabowo Subianto's birthday, so we signed during his birthday. And I will inform him day after tomorrow when I meet him. When I meet him, that's the thing, signing of the G20 Bali. When you celebrate your birthday in Hambalang, and we are discussing this article of agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is, I think, I hope that GBFA will also officially become an international organization, and we sincerely hope that ratification by each country will follow suit. And we also encourage the UAE, Fiji, the Democratic Republic Congo, Luxembourg, Sri Lanka, Canada, France, and other countries to join the G20 Bali GBFA during COP29 in Baku this year. And we also took note that Papua New Guinea, Germany, Australia, and Singapore have expressed an interest to participate in this new international organization. Once again, I would like also to thank you, partners, for supporting our collective vision through activities in the G20 Bali GBFA. Finally, I hope that the collaboration from all stakeholders in the G20 Bali GBFA will create a ripple effect that extends far beyond our immediate goals. Together, we will turn this ambition to more actions. And I really hope that we can see this organization soon. And I do hope that also not only to see the organization, but soon this organization also could help a lot of developing countries and also the organization who needed this fund in the developing countries. Developed country, I don't believe they need this one because they are already in the level of very high, but developing countries, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. I really need your support on this, and This is also the implementation of the Leaders' Declaration G20 Bali last 2022. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your resounding support and leadership for these initiatives. We will continue in this exciting and momentous occasion before we go to the signing with the roundtable discussion on moving forward of G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance. To open, I would like to invite His Excellency Pahala Mansuri, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, to deliver your opening remarks to the discussion. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
His Excellency Pak Menko, Pak Luhut Panjaitan, Excellency Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Pak Deputy, and also Ibu Sinta, everyone who's actually present today. A very good day. It is a pleasure for me to be able to be here with you in this very important roundtable discussion to chart the new path on the Global Blended Finance Alliance initiative. I think a lot has actually been said about the importance of the Global Blended Finance Alliance initiative. I just want to be able to highlight with you about several key important points related with this initiative. First, climate change that have actually been defining the challenge of our future. The latest COP of UNFCCC has already outlined that the world is now not on track to be able to achieve the target of warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius. In fact, the current pledges by country, we are still well exceeding warming by about 2 degrees. Second point that we would like to be able to outline with you, that we are actually 6 years away from the target of achieving the SDGs. But the progress has not actually been as what we expected it to be, and even some gains are now being reversed. It is estimated that right now only 16% of the SDGs are actually currently on track. Third, that this is actually very closely related with the previous 2 points that I already mentioned, that there is actually a need for us to strengthen the multilateral cooperation. Currently, the world is marked with rivalries and fragmentation that has resulted in conflicts, disruptions in supply chain, and therefore we need to actually also reverse this by actually being able to cooperate better in the multilateral fora. In the attainment of SDG, for example, there is an apparent gap in the SDG outcomes between the high-income and the low-income countries. One of the reasons is the chronic shortfalls of international financing in developing economies. Developing countries right now are facing a widening annual investment deficit to be able to achieve the attainment of SDGs. Climate financing also need to have a scaling. It is estimated that the climate transition requires more than $2.5 trillion per year by 2030, much higher than the current commitment of the developed countries to be able to support of about $100 billion annually, while the current adaptation finance gap is now estimated at between 194 to about 366 billion US dollars. These financing needs cannot be only financed by public funding alone. It requires the contribution from the private sector, international and philanthropic organizations, or what we know right now as blended finance. This is actually the main reason that Indonesia is launching the GBFA initiative. This initiative is a concrete example of inclusive cooperation, involving all of the relevant stakeholders, all countries, developed or developing ones, to tackle our common challenges. I am pleased that today, after a long process, the Articles of Agreement of the GBFA will be signed by Indonesia and Kenya. This hopefully will pave the way for GBFA to be an international organization as we are envisioning. Going forward, we view that there are a number of things that we must focus on. First is to continue pursuing the restructuring of the international financial architecture. We must collectively mobilize finance beyond loan and towards more grants and concessionary financing. Assistance, particularly in the form of grant, is key for developing countries. Unfortunately, albeit increasing in total, official development assistance flows to developing countries continues to fall. In 2022, it fell by about 2%, mostly affecting LDCs and SIDS. In addition, ODA is increasingly provided also through concessionary loans rather than grants, increasing the developing countries' debt burden. We must reverse this trend. It is also important to explore the modalities for SDGs and climate financing that will enable more private sector mobilization, which are more goals-oriented approach instead of more commercially viable. Second, we need to identify and implement quick-win projects that can become the model of climate action funded by blended finance. I hope that the GBFA can expeditiously identify several concrete action and projects that can be implemented in the short term, as well as how are we going to be able to achieve its medium-term target. This is crucial to understand the needs landscape of climate financing and how are we going to be able to map the potential resources mobilization. Third, how are we going to be able to continue expanding the membership of GBFA? This is very important not only to pool and mobilize resources further, but also to amplify the voice. And how are we going to be able to improve the impacts of the blended finance? To show our common leadership in innovative financing, in attaining climate and climate-related SDG targets, particularly in developing countries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, public funding cannot actually achieve only what we want to actually achieve in terms of attainment of SDG targets and climate actions. Indeed, as the old saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, we need to go far together. We need to go far to achieve the attainment of the SDGs. We need to go together. I hope that this initiative continues to gain traction and joined by more and more countries. And I hope that this initiative can really make a difference in the attainment of our common SDG and climate action goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for this very insightful remarks. You've highlighted the urgency of the challenge and the path forward that is needed. So with that in mind, we will go into the roundtable discussion to explore the next steps of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance. And for that, it is my honor to introduce Her Excellency Mari Elka Pangestu, Special Envoy for the President of Indonesia for Global Blended Finance Alliance, to preside over the discussion. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you. His Excellency, Minister Luhut, Vice Minister Pahala, ladies, excellencies, ambassadors, and also all our friends who are here with us today, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us at this auspicious day where we will hopefully be signing the Articles of Agreement. I'm supposed to now have a discussion around the next steps of the GBFA. I think we are at an opportune moment to have this discussion today. As we wait for the representatives from Kenya to arrive, we decided that we should just start with the roundtable. And really, if you could just put up the slides quickly, there are some slides to just remind us where we have come from. Pak Pahala reminded us that if we wanted to go fast, we would go alone, but we want to go far, so we have to go together. and to make, as I have always said, the impossible possible. When we started this journey in 2022, I think a lot of people thought this is just too hard. But we were not discouraged. Indonesia was not discouraged with Minister Luhut's support. We continued to push this idea because we felt that this is an important institution to be created, because it is going to address the gap, not just the financing gap that we have all heard the numbers just then, but really the gap that exists for developing countries to be able to access this kind of blended finance. That's really the unique proposition of GBFA. So we have worked hard since 2022 into 23, and we were able to sign in May of 2024 the LOI with 9 countries. And then from May to September, some people said this is the fastest negotiations. So in this case, we went fast, but we did go together. It was one of the fastest negotiations of such nature ever. And we were able to negotiate with the 8 of the 9 countries that signed the LOI to actually come up with the AOA, or the Articles of Agreement, for the creation of this G20 Global Blended Finance, Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, to be created as an international organization. So we achieved that, and we were able to, everybody acknowledged this on the 26th of September in New York. And we have also been able to sign on 3 knowledge partners, UID, United in Diversity, Tony Blair Institute, and UNDP. So we have made progress, quite, I think, fast progress in the space of this year, to come to today, the 17th of October, where the AOA will be signed by Indonesia and Kenya, as the other countries are still in process. We all know, those of us who work in government, how long these processes take internally, but a number of countries are in process. But for today, hopefully we can be signing with Indonesia and Kenya. And it is the 17th of October. I want to just say, I'm not a numerology person, but 17 seems to be a magic number today. 17th of October happens to be the President-elect Prabowo's birthday also, because you will see that he is also going to be committed to continuing the GBFA, to be able to finance climate finance, as well as the 17 SDGs. And by the way, we counted, this is the, Ibu Nani, Sherry, and I were counting how many are already on board. We're not saying this is the end, but at the moment today, 17th of October, there are 17 countries and potential and knowledge partners who are already on board. So out of the 17, 9 are the one who signed the LOI. We have 3 knowledge partners, so that's 12. And we have another 5 interested countries like PNG, as well as those knowledge partners who are still working out how to join us. So happy 17th. I think it's just something that we thought was
7 and 8.
1 plus 7 is 8, yeah. And in Chinese, 8 is very good, Pa.
President
Our president is number 8. Yes, 8% growth, and yeah, team 08 and in Chinese is very good also, continuous, right? Okay, auspicious day, ya, Pa. We all agree it's an auspicious day to really start what is a very, very important journey, a very important beginning of a journey to create GBFA as an international organization. Can I have the next slide, please? I think you heard already the commitment and the leadership from our President Joko Widodo, and recently President-elect Prabowo Subianto also mention in specifically the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance as something that he sees as modernizing the development finance system and fostering South-South cooperation to support climate action and the 17 SDGs. So we hope that this is, again, a show of a commitment by Indonesia, by the leadership of Indonesia, to continue this process. Let me just go to the next slide, which I would like to share the next steps. So what happens after this auspicious day? A lot more hard work, a lot more a lot more hard work that we need to do together. There will be three main next steps to be able to implement and support the GBFA as an international organization. First of all, we will continue to complete the signing of the AOAs with the remaining countries who have agreed on the AOA, and we will then follow up with bilateral discussions between the potential participating member countries about their contributions, as well as with the knowledge partners, more specifically as to what they will be contributing. We also actually hope that we can come up with a list of potential projects and proposed activities related to blended finance from contributing and participating countries, and as well as knowledge partners. The second step, once you sign the AOA, there will still be a process. Some can be long, some hopefully can be not too long, of ratification in each country, so that we can then really be able to set up the GBFA as an international organization. So there are administrative processes in each country, and we will have to provide the organizational structure based on the discussions with the member countries that have signed the AOA. So we have to still agree on the governance structure and the setup of the secretariat, whether physically as well as what it should be responsible for and what it should be doing. And finally, we have to come up, we have already have some ideas, and we've already come up with some ideas and activities that we will be outlining. We do need to have a business plan as to what we will be doing henceforth in terms of the activities of GBFA. And even before the legal establishment, we have already been doing roundtables, training and capacity building, and we will continue to do that as well as other activities, especially leading up to the creation of the international organization. Next, in developing the business plan, we must prioritize the three core functions of the GBFA, which is how to help countries design country-led platforms around their programs for achieving both climate and development. So both the climate objective as well as the development objective. We want to do institutional capacity building, as well as finally what we hope we can be doing is lots of partnerships and lots of convening. We do hope that GBFA has the strength to convene all different stakeholders from governments, from the private sector, from philanthropies, from the multilateral development banks, to come together and convene around the big issues of blended finance. Why is blended finance not still accessible to developing countries? Whether it's the risk issue, how do we reduce the risk, how do we help countries design platforms, what's the importance of platforms, how do you structure projects, etc., etc. So this is what we are hoping to be able to do. Those are the three pillars of the GBFA activities. So let me go to the final page, which is where we have identified several priorities, and knowledge partners can collaborate with us to help strengthen the GBFA's three main functions. Institutional capacity building, providing policy support for blended finance, identify potential projects in Kenya, Indonesia, and Fiji, and maybe a pilot project, facilitate knowledge sharing platform, conduct research on successful blended finance projects in developing countries, and be published as a white paper on blended finance and just transition. There is already a white paper on just transition. We are now working on a white paper on blended finance as well. I think we also want to enhance professional development through webinars or workshops led by experts in innovative blended finance in member countries, or we could do online, and then involve G20 plus countries. This is something we have done. UID had done this last year, so we intend to replicate this and make it wider and make it perhaps more specific to the needs of developing countries. Country-led platform, which I think those of you coming from either countries or from donor agencies or even those from knowledge partners know the importance of how do we create country-led platforms, country-led and country-owned platforms, which need to be also operational. So this is something we know we would like to really work on. Identify high potential projects in Kenya, Indonesia, Fiji. We are putting these examples just because we already have ideas of what this could be, that are ready for transition to technical assistance, providing the technical assistance plan based on the project list. And then we do intend to do comparative case studies in the energy transition and nature-based solution using blended finance. And the case studies will be around Indonesia, South Africa, and Brazil, because all three have some form of country platform that are shaping up, and we really want to use this hopefully as a successful exercise of how you develop country platforms. And South Africa, we have heard, is intending in their G20 year to promote the notion of the importance of country-led and country-owned platforms by developing countries, so that it can really address the issue that often happens when it's a top-down program that doesn't take into account the local condition or the development challenges of that particular country. And finally, convening. How do we convene and strengthen partnership, utilizing our knowledge partners network to foster collaboration opportunities and broaden the GBFA's reach? And we hope that we can host many side events to enhance GBFA's global visibility, including, I suppose, the next big event would be the COP in Azerbaijan, as well as next year there will be lots of G20 as well as COP activities that we would be involved in, and other regional or international fora. So that's kind of my just update to all of you, as well as identifying the next steps. I really want to hear, I think we really want to hear from all of you, from the participating countries as well as knowledge partners. If you have any input, if you have any ideas, concrete ideas that you can propose to us to be put into our business plan. So I would like to now open the floor for anybody, for the participating countries to come in, as well as the knowledge partners. May I start with you, Ambassador, just because I'm looking at you right now and you're right next to me.
Honorable Ministers, Madam, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm the Ambassador for Sri Lanka. From the beginning, Sri Lanka was fully on board with you on the Global Blended Financial Alliance. Unfortunately, there was a change of government in Sri Lanka this month. And now last month. Now we are going through a transition period, and I really cannot be 100% sure what way we will take. But based on the event today, I will make a firm report and I will make a firm recommendation to continue in a meaningful way. However, I am also not very sure what the government will decide. But what I can tell you is we need this kind of a thing, Global Blended Financial Alliance. I think everybody spoke about the need to find finances, not necessarily through public funding, but matching with or marrying with the private sector. And also the need is there. We cannot postpone any longer to take climate action. Despite 28 COPs, 2023 was the hottest year on earth. And now we are going for 29th COP, and 2024 is going to be the worst. So therefore, something has not gone right. And therefore, I must congratulate Indonesia for taking this very valuable initiative. Hope we can be a partner. Hope all of us can be a partner and contribute in a meaningful to protect our environment, because all our countries are climate vulnerable countries. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. We hope that your spirit there will be carried to your new government. Maybe from UAE?
Honorable Minister, Excellency Pa Lahut, Excellencies, dear colleagues, the United Arab Emirates reaffirms its commitment to support the Global Blended Finance Alliance to strengthen climate change action and achieving the SDGs in developed and developing countries. This support is aligned with the UAE National Climate Change Plan, and it was manifested by signing the letter of intent of the GBFA by His Highness, by His Excellency Sail Mazrou'i in Bali in May this year. Currently, the authorities in the UAE are pursuing to finalize the necessary steps for the global blended finance, and we will closely follow up this matter. Inspired by the UAE vision to tackle climate change, we wish the Global Blended Finance Alliance great success in advancing innovative financial solutions and uniting diverse stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to, I know that things are in motion, so we really hope soon that we will see also the signing by UAE. I don't see any more countries. Is there at the back? Oh yes, so, I'm sorry, Kevin, Canada.
Excellencies, Ibu Mari, Canada was very excited to be one of the founding signatories to the letter of intent, and because we not only believe in the importance of this project, but we believe in the importance of Indonesia's leadership on this issue, and particularly your leadership in the Global South. And that's why we continue to be really excited to be on this path with you. I know we are still, like you said, working on administrative processes on our side, as these things do take time, but we do believe in this partnership, and we do believe in working closely in further developing this initiative. And I think if I had to add anything in terms of next steps, I think, it's really provoked a very good discussion between the embassy and Ottawa on what the GBFA could look like. And one of the little bits of feedback that I've received from our experts is the importance of strengthening the enabling policy environment for blended finance in countries in the Global South. And I think that speaks to the importance of the country-led platforms, which I think will be able to help strengthen those mechanisms so that we can attract more investment, not just international investment, but investment in the Global South, and investment in those countries that really understand the risks better of some of these types of initiatives. But overall, we're really excited about the direction of the program, and we believe in this partnership, and we look forward to the next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Canada, and thank you for attending the negotiations as an observer. I don't know whether the representative for France wants to say anything.
Thank you. France is proud to be a supporter of the GBFA from the start and looks forward to moving forward in implementing this partnership through concrete projects. This is where our mind is at right now, and we look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I will go to the knowledge partners, and then I'll come back to everybody else. Is it? Huh? UK? Or shall we go to countries first? Okay. So we have a representative from the UK here.
Your Excellency Pa Luhut, Ibu Mari, Your Excellency. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here today to represent the UK. We have been attending all the meetings that we can on GBFA. Blended finance is something that the UK has consistently supported around the world through our programming and also through our partnerships with countries. I think Indonesia's initiative here, as Kevin said, is really welcome, and as is your emphasis on country-led platforms, South-South cooperation. We also have a relatively new government in the UK, which has also been sort of taking its time to review its position on initiatives to which we've been invited to participate. We are also actively talking to London about the GBFA, as it's something that, as I said, is very aligned with our interests.
Thank you so much. We look forward to continued discussions with you. Australia, I think we have a representative from Australia.
Hello, happy to be representing Australia today. Australia is supportive of Indonesian leadership on this issue and South-South cooperation, and of blended finance in general. We're also working closely with our headquarters on this issue.
Okay, perhaps in line with countries, maybe I can ask KFW, Germany, as well as Jeff from the US AID.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Burkhard from KFW, and thank you for the invitation. And for KFW as a development bank, we are very much looking forward to join the Global Blended Finance Alliance in not too far distance, or rather soon, as a knowledge partner. And we're very much looking forward. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you, and thank you for attending our event in May in the World Water Forum. Jeff?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Jeff Cohen from USAID Indonesia. I've been watching this up close since the G20 event when Spec Carey met with Minister Luhut and the team in Bali. I think that USAID has a particular interest here in Indonesia because we have a history of successful blended finance moments, starting perhaps with the Jagorawi Highway that was built in the 70s, and maybe including the Jakarta Busway that was clearly a blended finance success, where USAID funded the design work and the local government then built the Jakarta Busway that's been expanded over and over again over time. So I think USAID Indonesia continues to want to support the Global Blended Finance Alliance and perhaps pick one of our current projects, whether it be a successful program with Freeport that we just launched in Timika that funds anti-stunting engagement with the Ministry of Health together with Freeport, or some of our work with Mars Chocolate in South Sulawesi that does a lot of work with farmers trying to expand their production of cacao. We have a long history of working in Sumatra on coffee projects with Starbucks that I think are also great examples of how the private sector, the public sector can work together to expand millions and millions of dollars worth of coffee sales that have gone to Starbucks from the island of Sumatra successfully over time. I think we can utilize some of our successful projects to help focus in on ways that blended finance in Indonesia can be an example for the world to follow. Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih. I give you A+, especially for the first, your first remark. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you. Looks like you have some actual projects that are already in place. Now let's turn to the partners. Let me perhaps we have lots of Indonesian partners in the room too, so let me perhaps start with Mr. Norimasa Shimomura from UNDP.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here today. I should emphasize the 17 stands for the SDGs also. Yes. So it's a powerful figure. And the good news, of course, Vice Minister Bahala gave us the need for trillions of dollars each year. But the good news is, several hundreds of trillions of dollars is circulating in the world economy. So it's a matter of leveraging and aligning properly, and I think GBFA initiative like this is going to be quite instrumental in the future. As for UNDP, over the past years, we've been working quite ardently on innovative finance, and in this context, we have worked quite intensively with MAVES as well as Ministry of Finance, Bappenas, in help Indonesia introduce many, let's say, financing strategy and concrete financing instruments. Take an example of the government securities framework that sets a framework for all the thematic bonds in this country, or the climate change fiscal framework that the Ministry of Finance developed, and the blue finance strategy that we developed together with MAVES. These are quite important, and as a follow-up of that, we've also had the chance to help and work with the government to issue thematic bonds such as Green Sukuk, SDG bonds, blue bonds last year and this year. And more specifically on blue finance, blended finance, of course, we have worked with Bappenas in help developing the INFF, the Integrated National Financing Framework for the SDGs. This is the overarching financing framework for the SDGs, and obviously this is about blended finance. And at a more project level, we worked with Ministry of Finance to develop the ESG framework for PPP investment in the infrastructure sector. So what I'm trying to say is that we would like to mobilize all these experience, also our experience in energy transition sector, climate sector, as well as blue economy sector, to work with GBFA to help design and implement concrete, and I emphasize concrete because we work with Pak Luhut on the AIS forum, and the key word.
Concrete katanya, harus
No.
concrete. Harus concrete, Pak. kalau ngomong
Yes,
sama Bapak.
because we always emphasize the importance of concrete results, concrete initiative. So we'd be eager to help developing concrete projects, bankable projects in the future, particularly ones that support the livelihood of micro and small entrepreneurs in this country, by help introducing just and clean energy transition. We've also offered numerous training opportunity for government officials and private sector colleagues on financing matters, and we'd be looking into the possibility of offering a deep dive, dedicated training opportunity on the blended finance in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we also appreciate your support for ICE, Pak Luhut was saying. So yes, concrete projects, concrete steps forward. Thank you, and welcome to the Kenyan delegation.
Please join me in welcoming the Ambassador of the Republic of Kenya to Indonesia, His Excellency Galmamuke Boru, and Kenyan Cabinet Secretary Mr. Hassan Ali Joho, Secretary for Mining and Blue Economy. We will, let's pause the discussion for now so that we can commence with the momentous occasion of the signing of the Article of Agreement. So may I invite to the stage His Excellency Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, representing Indonesia in the signing, and then witnessed by Vice Minister Pahala Mansyuri and Her Excellency Ibu Mari Alka Pangestu to witness the signing on the stage. Kenya, the Cabinet Secretary. Excuse me, Cabinet Secretary for Mining and Blue Economy, Mr. Hassan Ali Johor, Secretary. And His Excellency Ambassador of Kenya to Indonesia, Galma Muke Boru. Thank you. Excellencies, when you are ready. On my mark, please. Let's give a big round of applause. This is the Let's pause for a moment. Your Excellency, if you don't mind holding the payment for so that we can take. Can we have our documentation team on the standby and ready? Thank you. Let's once again give a big round of applause for this historic moment. You may now return to the stage and we invite Ambassador Galma Mukeboru to share. You may return to your seats. Boleh kembali ke tempat duduk dulu, Bapak. And now I invite His Excellency Ambassador Galma Mukeboru to say a few words on behalf of the Republic of Kenya on the occasion of this signing. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Your Excellency Pa Luhut, Your Excellency the Special Envoy for Global Blended Finance, Your Excellency the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, it's my honor and privilege to be with you today and to convey the message and apologies of our Minister for Foreign Affairs, our Principal Cabinet Secretary and the Minister for Foreign Affairs, who was not able to join the online signing this morning because he was called urgently to Parliament, and he went to Parliament, and Parliament could not be able to release him on time, and he got stuck in Parliament, and because of that he was not able to be with you, but he has extended his sincere apologies. However, Kenya is committed to Global Blended Finance Alliance Secretariat. From the time when we signed the letter of intent, we were ready to be a signatory to the Articles of Agreement. We were to sign the Articles of Agreement in New York, but at that time we were waiting for the approvals to go through the Attorney Generals and the National Treasury. By the time when our minister then in New York got the approvals, I think the day had already passed. The next day he had traveled to Washington, he was not able to sign. But we are happy today, at least Indonesia has signed, and Kenyan side is going to sign, and will be able to exchange through diplomatic means. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. May I also invite Secretary Hassan Ali Johor, the Kenyan Cabinet Secretary for Mining and Blue Economy, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency General Luhut, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mine is to reaffirm the statement already issued by the ambassador. Kenya is committed to this cause. Our president has been talking about relooking into the financial infrastructure and architectural in general that will conform to the needs and the demands of our countries. And if I say our countries, you know what I mean, between the developed and the developing nation. So what this enables us to do is to create a platform that ensures all of us come together and have the critical input on how we want to manage our affairs, particularly in the area of our financial architectural system. So you have our commitment as a country. Unfortunately, the foreign minister, who is also our prime minister, was not able to join in today because of some issues in parliament. And for those politicians in the room are aware how it can be sometimes when you attend parliament. You don't even manage your own space. So we want to commit to you that I will personally convey the message to the President of the Republic of Kenya, his personal friend, by the way. I met the General for the first time, had a very interesting conversation in the sides of United Nations General Assemblies. And I want to tell you, General, apart from the discussion on the financial architecture, the other technological advancement we're already implementing as a country. So I feel encouraged that I'm here. And Kenya is committed to continue to further this already existing wonderful and cordial relation between our two countries. I thank you and I submit.
Thank you, Secretary. I may now return the floor to Your Excellency, Ibu Mari Pangasus, to continue our discussion. Thank you.
Okay, we were just having a roundtable discussion on the next steps in GBFA, and we were just hearing from the partners. So maybe I was going to invite some of our important Indonesian partners who have been helping very much to the creation of a GBFA. Could I invite PTSMI to say something?
Okay, thank you. His Excellency, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency, Vice Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, and also Her Excellency, Special Envoy to the President of the Republic of Indonesia on GBFA. We, PTSMI, appreciate and support the initiatives that has been behind these projects, and we are eager to see progress, and we are also looking forward to staying informed and exploring all the possibilities that is aligned with our goals and also our resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Refriadi. Pak Luhut has to leave, I believe. That's what, is that right?
5 menit lagi boleh? Di sini 5 menit lagi. Oh, boleh.
Okay, so Pak Luhut enjoys the conversation so much, he decided to stay longer. Okay, that's good. Okay, may I, perhaps I would like to ask another important partner, the private sector, Ibu Shinta, would you like to say something on behalf of Apindo?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency and everybody in the room. Pleasure to be here representing private sectors. As you know, we've been supporting a blended finance since the beginning, G20. During our forum of the B20, we also have part of our outcome and legacy is the blended finance. So we have from the beginning has supported this effort of the Global Blended Finance Alliance. And we continue our work with private sectors globally. So as part of the continuation of the B20 this year in Brazil, I think this is also another outcome that will be an alliance that created by private sectors. But I also would like to share the effort that's done by private sector globally through the UN GIST, which is the global initiative on sustainable development. So global investing specifically on the work stream that we do, one of the area focus is how we can put policy recommendation on blended finance. And what we do now is two front. One is to connect with different organizations within the alliance. There's 30 major companies around the world that we bring together and connect on what effort that has been done on blended finance. But secondly, what's important is we did a survey also for companies on what projects that has been done. What are some of the challenges that they face on doing blended finance? So In this case, we will be actually we'll be doing a BOSIS forum in the 4th International Conference on Finance for Development, which is going to happen in Spain on the 13th of June to 2nd of July. This is a government-led, but there will be a business forum in which we'll be showcasing blended finance projects as well as also providing the policy recommendations to the government. So we will obviously work together with GBFA and Special Envoy Ibu Mari to see how we can also do some alignments by bringing the private sectors in also mobilizing blended finance together with government. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that was a really concrete suggestion about a timeline of June with the development financing for development conference. It's 10 years after Addis Ababa, if I'm not mistaken. So they want to have a big push again. And just I forgot to mention that when I was in New York, actually the Investor Alliance Network they produced 13 case studies on blended finance, and it was supported by Canada's pension fund, and it's supposed to come up, the idea is to come up with more concrete case studies of actual blended finance projects that have been able to be financed. And one of the examples is actually SDG1 fund, which is the Indonesia fund that is intended for SDG, and PTSMI is one of the, I guess, the ones that are designing the projects, the blended finance projects. So I think this is something we can shoot for to be present at the June, is it June or July? June, yeah, June event, and we can work towards that. Let me now invite Ibu Ella from Tony Blair.
Yeah, thank you, Your Excellencies. Since we signed the Knowledge Partner MOU back in 26th of September, we have focused on two things. One is that we are starting to collate the potential projects for the project pipeline. And second, on the third function pillar here, on the convening partnerships, from the TBI team, we have been developing the governance models, Your Excellencies, for this partnership convening. So if we can go to the last slide, please. So we have actually prepared, so this is like the step-by-step for the partner convening.
Okay.
So we have designed like discovery, ability to scale, because building from what Vice Minister Pahala mentioned earlier, is very important to think about the scalability of the partnership. Hence, we are not reinventing the hills.
Okay.
So this is another example. We have been focusing on identifying potential projects. One project is the mangrove conservations. This is an area where World Bank and PMRI actually have been working on. So we are thinking about looking at in the greater details of what are the type of risks that we need to mitigate. Last but not least, if you can go to the last slide, very quickly. Yeah. So here is the sort of like a preliminary thinking around the governance model that we have put to deploy the partnership, Your Excellencies. We are thinking about how we can deliver and then the ability to scale earlier that I mentioned. And last but not least, this is the next steps for us from the Tony Blair Institute. We are happy to help the government in doing the stock taking on the project list, conduct the benchmarking, and develop the working model. So that's from our side, Ibu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all your support in helping us thinking through some of these questions. I'm afraid we have run out of time, so we will end the roundtable, but we do have a final, we have a grand finale for today's very auspicious day. I will hand it back to the MC to guide us through our grand finale.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Ibu Mari. Let's give a big round of applause for our moderator. And for ourselves, of course, for all our support for moving this forward. Our next sequence, moving towards the group photo, instead of a big joyous celebration, we thought we would take a moment of solemnity and stillness. The GBFA is akin to lighting a candle in the dark as a symbol of hope. towards the global development. So we will invite us to light a candle, 17 candles of the Sustainable Development Goals up on stage, but also if you already have the little torch on your table, that means you are invited to also light the candles that are at the back of the room. Correct, Pa? So may I have the video, please? May I invite the first, lighting the first goal candle, No Poverty, Ms. Shinta Kamdani from Trihita Karana Forum Steering Committee and Chairman of APindo. SDGs number 2, Zero Hunger, President Director of PTSMI, Mr. Reynaldi Hermansyah. Mr. Norimasa Shimomura, if you would mind joining us, lighting SDG number 3 for good health and well-being. His Excellency Ambassador Tantowi Yahya for SDG number 4, quality education. SDG number 5 for gender equality from the Embassy of United Arab Emirates. Ambassador of Kenya, if you may take SDG number 6. And number 7, Ambassador of Sri Lanka. SDG. May I invite number 8 from Bapenas, Ibu Winnie, are you here? Then may I invite a representative from Kemenko Economy, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, lighting SDG number 8. Next, I invite Mr. Jody Mahardi, Deputy Jody for Kemenko Marves, and Deputy Rahmat. Bapak Deputy Rahmat, please join us. For Pak Tri. And our knowledge partners, Pak Guru, our knowledge partner from Tony Blair Institute and UNDP. And then our ministers, our secretary, Vice Minister Pahala, Ibu Mari, Secretary Joha, and Minister Luhut, if you would mind joining us on stage, and of course Ibu Sherry. And then those of you who already has the lighting stick, for those of you who already has the lighting stick, you can make your way to the back and light the candles at the back of the room. So we have 2 sets of the SDG candles. Zizi, behind you, there's an open flame. Be careful. All right, those of you who have completed lighting the candle in the back, I invite you to the front to join the photo session, and also announcing Mr. Amit Gupta, the Global Chairman of the TIE Global, to join us on stage for photos. Bapak dan Ibu yang sudah menyalakan lilin, mungkin boleh bergabung ke arah panggung untuk melakukan grup foto bersama. Please join us on stage for the photo session. Ibu Mezani. Bapak Ibu yang sudah selesai boleh bergabung dengan para dignitaries di panggung, silakan. If you have lit your candle, I invite you to who's not here? Our knowledge partners, our country members, our prospective country supports. Please join us on stage. Silakan bergabung di panggung, boleh diarahkan. Silakan sebentar ditunggu fotonya. 1 second please as we invite everyone to join on stage. Pak Chris. A representative from France. Yes, Bali, if you're ready. Thank you for opening your camera. Thank you for joining us today. It is a show of global support. You can see them in the back if you turn around. Our friends and country representatives from Bali also celebrating from the Secretariat of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance at the KEK Sanur, Sanur Special Economic Zone in Bali. All right, let's do one formal pose and then one happy pose. And say GBFA, okay? 1, 2, 3, GBFA. And then maybe one more. Happy pose. Happy pose. G20 Bali GBFA. Video ready? Video ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. G20 Bali GBFA. Woo! Thank you so much. And then maybe we'll wish the President-elect happy birthday before we get off stage. Yes? Okay, so on 3 we will say happy birthday, President Prabowo. And have the slide, please. We prepared a happy birthday slide. There we go. Happy birthday, our future leader, President Prabowo. All right? Video ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, President Prabowo. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 3 more, yeah, so we'll send this in 3 days. President, oh Pak Prabowo, okay. Di-delete ya Mas yang tadi. Okay, so we'll say happy birthday Pak Prabowo, okay? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday Pak Prabowo. Woo! Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for this joyful and serene occasion. Let's bring our candles in our hearts as a symbol of hope for the global development. I invite you to be careful when you step down from the stage with the steps. Thank you so much, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's occasion of the signing of the Articles of Agreement and roundtable discussion on the next steps of the G20 Bali GBFA. We truly appreciate your participation and valuable contributions. On behalf of the organizers, I am Shobi Lawalata signing off, and allow me to close with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us. Shalom. Om Santi, Santi, Santi Om, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Sejahtera. Be well, and until next time, thank you so much.
Our world is clearly facing two serious crises, dehumanization and climate change. In Istiqlal Mosque in Indonesia, the country with the world's largest Muslim population, its Grand Imam Nasruddin and Pope Francis jointly led an interfaith dialogue and signed the Joint Declaration of Istiqlal 2024, and gave a gift of a recycled copper wire cross to Indonesia Initiative in United in Diversity, for People, Planet, and Partnership for Peace and Prosperity. The Balinese philosophy Trihita Karana, or 3 ways to happiness through the harmony of people, planet, and spiritual, is aligned with Pope Francis Laudato Si, Islam, Chinese, Hindu, Greek, and many indigenous religions and cultures. Serendipitously, it is perfectly aligned with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals
Thank you to representatives from country
into a happiness
members.
SDG pyramid with climate at its
We
core.
have a video
Pope
showcasing
Francis
the
moved from the
G20
tunnel
Bali
of friendship
Global
deep
Blended
below,
Finance Alliance,
linking the Jakarta largest
and a message
cathedral
from
and
the
Mosque
Pope
Istiqlal, to
inviting
above
us
ground,
for the
where he
Global
blessed
Day of
mangrove
Reflection, the
saplings,
Universal Reflection Journey
alongside
on
the
December
recycled dove of
14.
happiness. This piece was lovingly carved
Thank you
by
so much,
Kara Bali
ministers,
Serangan
Vice
Village
Minister,
Community.
ambassadors, and
This was
country
part of the
representatives.
Indonesia Sustainability
We are truly
Forum,
grateful for
where
your
mangroves
support
were
for
taken
today
across the archipelago,
and the G20
Java,
Bali Global Blended
Kalimantan,
Finance Alliance
Sumatra,
as it moves
Papua,
forward.
and Bali. The Mohammed bin Zayed Joko Widodo International Mangrove Research Center in Kara Bali Special Economic Zone was where one of the Pope Francis blessed mangroves is also planted. A dove of happiness descended in Kara Bali on the blessing ceremony of World Water Forum, on the eve of Pentecost Sunday that hosted the Trihita Karana World Economic Forum event, on G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, preceding signing of the G20 GBFA Letter of Intent, and launch of the G20 Bali Alliance Secretariat in the Sanur Special Economic Zone. At the United Nations on September 26, the AOA consensus with member countries and knowledge partners. Signing of the new international organization, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance for Happiness and SDGs, was held. Path to Happiness or SDGs need multi-stakeholders and sectors. Uniting in Diversity is the motto of a country of diverse ethnic backgrounds, cultures, and religions. Trihita Karana Forum is co-organized by United in Diversity, International Chamber of Commerce, and UNSDSN, with partners OECD, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Economic Forum, and many more. It is hosted by the Government of the Republic of Indonesia, with President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono and President Joko Widodo. Its United in Diversity founding was under the presidency of Megawati Soekarnoputri, with former presidents Gus Dur and Habibie blessings. Symbolizing the unity in diversity spirit of a resilient nation, Trihita Karana Forum, as the first knowledge partner of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, will invite all to join in a Trihita Karana Universal Reflection Journey. With blessings by future President Prabowo and Pope Francis on December 14th. To celebrate us as a people, diverse yet united in our common future, aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This gathering of our universal leadership is for the world to reflect together, and for all of us to navigate, with open minds, hearts, and wills, as new governments form globally, and the new global institution, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, is born. Our world is clearly facing two serious crises: dehumanization and climate change. In Istiqlal Mosque in Indonesia, the country with the world's largest Muslim population, its Grand Imam Nasruddin and Pope Francis jointly led an interfaith dialogue and signed the Joint Declaration of Istiqlal 2024, and gave a gift of a recycled copper wire cross to Indonesia Initiative in United in Diversity, for People, Planet, and Partnership for Peace and Prosperity. The Balinese philosophy Trihita Karana, or three ways to happiness through the harmony of people, planet, and spiritual, is aligned with Pope Francis Laudato Si, Islam, Chinese, Hindu, Greek, and many indigenous religions and cultures. Serendipitously, it is perfectly aligned with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, into a happiness SDG pyramid with climate at its core. Pope Francis moved from the tunnel of friendship deep below, linking the Jakarta largest cathedral and mosque Istiqlal, to above ground, where he blessed mangrove saplings, alongside the recycled dove of happiness. This piece was lovingly carved by Kara Kara Bali Serangan village community. This was part of the Indonesia Sustainability Forum, where mangroves were taken across the archipelago, Java, Kalimantan, Sumatra, Papua, and Bali. The Muhammad bin Zayed Joko Widodo International Mangrove Research Center, in Kara Kara Bali Special Economic Zone, was where one of the Pope Francis blessed mangroves is also planted. A dove of happiness descended in Kara Kara Bali on the blessing ceremony of World Water Forum, on the eve of Pentecost Sunday that hosted the Trihita Karana World Economic Forum event, on G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, preceding signing of the G20 GBFA Letter of Intent, and launch of the G20 Bali Alliance Secretariat in the Sanur Special Economic Zone. At the United Nations on September 26, the AOA consensus with member countries and knowledge partners, signing of the new international organization, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance for Happiness and SDGs, was held. Path to Happiness, or SDGs, need multi-stakeholders and sectors. Uniting in Diversity is the motto of a country of diverse ethnic backgrounds, cultures, and religions. Trihita Karana Forum is co-organized by United in Diversity, International Chamber of Commerce, and UNSDSN, with partners OECD, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Economic Forum, and many more. It is hosted by the Government of the Republic of Indonesia, with President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono and President Joko Widodo. Its United in Diversity founding was under the presidency of Megawati Soekarnoputri, with former presidents Gus Dur and Habibie blessings. Symbolizing the unity in diversity spirit of a resilient nation, Trihita Karana Forum, as the first knowledge partner of the G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, will invite all to join in a Trihita Karana Universal Reflection Journey. with blessings by future President Prabowo and Pope Francis on December 14th. To celebrate us as a people, diverse yet united in our common future, aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This gathering of our universal leadership is for the world to reflect together, and for all of us to navigate, with open minds, hearts, and wills, as new governments form globally, and the new global institution, G20 Bali Global Blended Finance Alliance, is born. Our world is clearly facing two serious crises: dehumanization and climate change. In Istiqlal Mosque in Indonesia, the country with the world's largest Muslim population, its Grand Imam Nasruddin and Pope Francis jointly led an interfaith
May I
dialogue and
invite the
signed the joint
coordinating
declaration of
team, the
Istiqlal
organizing
2024,
team, both from
and gave a gift
Marves
of a
and from
recycled copper
UID,
wire cross
to take a
Indonesia
group photo
initiative in
on the
United in
stage with our
Diversity
SDG
for
candles.
people, planet, and
Tim
partnership
UID
for peace and prosperity.
dan tim
The
dari
Balinese
Marves
philosophy Tri Hita Karana,
yang sudah membantu
or three ways to
melaksanakan
happiness
sehingga
through the
dapat
harmony of
berlangsung
people,
dengan
planet,
lancar.
and spiritual,
Boleh kita foto bareng yuk?
is aligned with Pope Francis Laudato Si, Islam, Chinese, Hindu, Greek, and many
Pak
indigenous
Andri,
religions and
Bukim,
cultures. Serendipitously, it is
timnya Pak
perfectly
Asdep.
aligned
Pak
with the
Asdep juga
17
sekalian kalau nggak
Sustainable
buru-buru.
Development Goals.
Pak Asdep
Into a
Aji,
happiness
Pak Asdep
SDG
Kus.
pyramid with climate at its core.
Silakan yuk kita
Pope
sama-sama
Francis
foto
moved from the
merayakan
tunnel of friendship deep below,
acara yang sudah selesai
linking the
hari ini.
Jakarta largest
Beserta
cathedral
timnya
and
ya
mosque
Pak,
Istiqlal.
diajak sekalian Pak. Pak Asdep Aji di mana ya? Pak Asdep Aji dan tim UID beserta tim. Rizky, Mimi, Naufal, Ridwan, semua tim yang sudah tiap hari pulangnya jam 12 malam menjaga lilin, Pak Gusti, Bu Rita, betul. Ada lagi nggak nih tim UID, tim Marves yang, Pak Deputi Aji sini dong, Bukim, gimana Bukim? Bukim, ayo Pak Andri kita foto. Oh, merapat gaya kondangan. Miring. 4 orang, 2 orang mesti bergeser ke sebelah kanan. Ya, cukup Re. Siapa Pak?
Pak Henry. Mas itu, Mas Tri. Pak Henry dipanggilin tuh. Butami mana Butami? Jadi lihat Butami nggak? Lagi Mas Aga belum masuk katanya Mas Aga. Ada yang kabur. Bali, Bali, GBFA.